Picofender is a Defender clone for Pico 8. Who'd have thought it? Welcome to Pico Playtime, the video series where I play through some cool Pico 8 games to show to you lovely people. Today's game is by the developer called Sunbear Interactive. Let's just see that again. What a nice splash screen. Today's game is called Picofender and it's by the developer called Sunbeam Interactive, also known over on Twitter as Proton Person, also known as John Leiterman. This is John Leiterman's first kind of fully completed Pico 8 kind of project, a kind of full game if you like. It was released initially last year I believe, but then this week it was put up on itch for free download. I'm not sure if it was like a paid game before, but anyway, I downloaded it today and left a little donation. Support the Pico 8 developers, everyone. You know you can. Just do it. Be good. Anyway, I've downloaded the game today and this is why I'm showing it to you now. So, as you may be able to guess by the by the title screen, by the name, by everything I've said, this is a Defender clone. I'm not going to call it a demake or a remake because it's making a lot of changes to the Defender formula, but it's still very recognisable as Defender. I have played Defender, the original 1981 arcade game. I've played it, I don't know, a couple of times maybe. I'm not an aficionado on it, but you recognise this game. So yeah, don't come to this game if you're wanting a kind of completely faithful recreation of the game. Do come to this game if you want something similar. We have got some changes that have been made, which we'll get into. Let's talk about what's going on the title screen. Yes, it's the part in the video where I talk about the title screen. That's a really cool logo. I like that. All the way through this game, you're going to see some very kind of old school arcadey, flashing, strobing almost, colour changing things. That's how arcade games would grab your attention back in the 80s. So I like to see that. Just looks a bit crazy, doesn't it? On the title screen, let's get focus. There we go. On the title screen, we have got a few different, well, we've got two different game modes. Arcade mode is what you might expect. We have got 3 lives or 3 ships. We need to score as many points as we can, try and clear as many waves as we can. We've got deadline mode. This is a kind of, I haven't got an endless mode, but it's a kind of endless wave mode, and you've got 3 minutes to score as many points as you can. That gets very difficult very quickly. The difficulty all throughout this game is very high, just to warn you. High scores, I think we all know what high scores are by now. Don't think you need me to explain that. Achievements. The game has achievements. This is what I'm saying about how it's not like a straight arcade kind of port. We've got some modern gameplay stuff going on here, and these are the kinds of achievements where you achieve something by being good at the game, rather than achievements which is just do something weird you would never do otherwise for the purposes of an achievement. Complete a level without using a bomb. Guess how I did that? I forgot that I had a bomb. Yes, this game has controls, believe it or not. We'll get into them. Survive Earth's destruction, not going to be doing that. Get all achievements, not going to be doing that either. Quick look at the credits before we get into things. So, programming, art, sound, music, everything basically by Jonathan Leiterman. Inspiration, as you might have guessed, Defender by Williams. Right then, let's get into the game. There is a steep learning curve in this. So, look, it's Defender, everyone. It's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up. We have got, oh dear. Yeah, I managed to. Wow, that was good. I've never actually managed that before. Narrowly avoided getting shot as well. Yeah, this is Defender. So aliens come from there's our first death. Aliens come from above. You have to defend. You're a defender, remember. You have to defend the hapless people on the ground from the alien invaders. If an alien is going to capture a human, they will try and carry them away. And as you've seen in that awesome display of skill, it wasn't complete luck. You can kind of catch falling people to save them from dying. If you're really bad at the game, one of the many ways you can be bad at the game is if you kill people by accident. Don't do that. And yeah, there are many different types of enemies. I'm not sure exactly how many there are. As you may have guessed, I haven't got very far into this game yet. But yeah, there's different types of enemies. They all behave slightly differently. They're all very dangerous. You can see there. Oh dear. That person fell. You can see when an alien has spotted a human, they have a cool little searchlight effect that comes out, and yeah, it kind of gives you a hint that you need to get a move on. Now we're on the game over screen, I can talk about what's going on. It's a little bit less frantic. These arcade games are not designed with this style of video review in mind. You know, who would have thought that 40 years ago people would have been designing games for YouTubers? Anyway, yeah, it's very hard to talk about this game and play it at the same time. Let's talk about the screen then. As you've probably noticed, we have a display at the top of the screen with a kind of terrain map. It's got a radar on there. You can see which or where enemies are, which can be helpful later on in level if there's only maybe 1 or 2 enemies you're trying to hunt down. You can see the terrain is very simple, very evocative of the kind of 1980s arcade look. Most of the enemies that we fight are tiny little arrangements of pixels that mostly look abstract. There's a lot of strobing effects going on. It really gives you that old school arcade feel. We've got some enemies that look sort of like Space Invaders as well, so everything is good there. There are many particle effects. The lasers on the ship, they look really cool. So yeah, graphics wise, everything is there. Oh, I can put a high score in. So yeah, I'm gonna show my love of PowerPoint files. There we go. Yeah, we need to practice at this game. Something that I learned relatively quickly was you mostly just want to keep shooting. It's a shoot 'em up. You're probably going to be best off if you just shoot, okay? You may have noticed as well that your ship can move exceptionally fast. And even though the camera tries its best by panning side to side, you can't see very far ahead. If you go at full speed, you will crash into something and you will die. If you don't shoot the enemies in an efficient way, you will crash into them and you will die. If you are just unlucky sometimes when you respawn, an enemy will be right next to you, you will crash and you will die. This is an unforgiving game. It's got a very steep learning curve, and in some places it is something of an unfair game. But that's kind of what you expect with these old games, you know? These games are about liberating you from your pocket change, not about providing a... Oh man, did I die? I think I died. Yeah, they were about liberating you from your pocket change in the arcades, not about giving a modern, polished and forgiving gaming experience. You would be expected to practice and learn these games. Hopefully you would have fun in doing so. How did I do then? There we go, another third best score. I'm getting slightly more consistent, aren't I? Obviously, 98,000 is a freak accident there. Yeah, there is a lot of skill in this game. You need to be very careful how you move. The ship, as I've said, is exceptionally fast. But there's also a lot of momentum on the ship as well. It's very easy to make a screw up with the movement. I'm sure there'll be people who will complain about the movement of the ship. I like it. I like having the challenge of moving a ship. I imagine piloting a laser-equipped spaceship would be quite difficult. I imagine that it would require some skill and practice just to move around. I think that's fine in a game. Because after all, I mean, you know, this should be an accurate simulation of what it's like being a 25th century spaceship pilot, right? Whatever. Can we just bask in the glory of the laser effect? Oh man. Isn't the laser cool? I love the laser in this game. Okay, completely unnoticeable video edit there. Yeah, I happily played through the game for the review and didn't tell you about half of the power-ups that the game has. Besides the laser, if you press the other button, there's only 2 buttons on Pico 8 and I didn't press the other one. If you press the other one, look, you get a shield, right? The shield makes you invulnerable. That's really useful. I should use that a lot more. It requires good timing and skill and remembering that the button is there in the first place. So if you don't have all 3 of those things, you might have problems with it, like I am having. Another ability that you have, which I'll hopefully be able to demonstrate now, if I don't die immediately. Another ability that you have, which I am going to try and... There we go. The bomb, okay? you get this crazy looking vector animation. The bomb clears the screen. Again, it's a very useful ability to have. So, yeah, you can go through the game just holding down the fire button. That is a legitimate way of playing the game. Or you can be more skillful and use the shield. You probably want to use both. I think, as you can see there, maybe using the shield when you're changing direction. You can see how I kind of like deflected the alien there. Oh my, there are so many enemies. Yeah, you really need to use all of your abilities in this game, otherwise you'll have a very hard time of things like I was having at the beginning. I'm still having. Just wanted to just add this in there, that yes, there are some other things you can do in the game to not die. Like I say, completely unnoticeable video edits. Here's another one coming right up. And yeah. There we go. That's a classic game of Defender there. How many seconds was that? Oh, it's a tough game, this. Let's just try out Deadline mode, and you will see. I think Deadline mode must kind of fast forward you through the waves, because by the end of Deadline mode, when you've got a few seconds left, oh man, there are so many enemies. It is an absolute massacre. So, yeah, to start with, this is all looking fairly familiar, look. We've got the little green enemies. These kind of Space Invader looking guys. If you're wondering what those blue, I think they're called shards, those little pickups, they increase your score multiplier. That's how you get the big scores. When you die, you lose your score multiplier. So you want to get that back as quickly as possible. Yeah. You could get some enormous scores in this if you could just avoid the thing you need to do. Survive. Defender. Survivor, really. Oops, I just killed that person. Oh dear. It's got this as well. There's the kind of classic arcade. I think Space Invaders may have done this. I've seen it in several games where enemies would kind of you'd sort of see it telegraphed. There's that modern gaming term. You'd see it telegraphed where an enemy's going to spawn by the kind of pixels kind of moving towards that point. That's a cool effect to see in the game. I like how forgiving the pickup area is on the shards. That makes things feel fun and fair. I mean, it helps to have a little bit of help in this game, doesn't it? Oh man, oh, there's another wave coming in. Yeah, so even though it's not endless mode, you can see this Deadline mode kind of feels like an endless mode. You need to kind of get your eye in for this game. It's very easy to mistake a projectile for some kind of background star or something. We've got a very simple kind of Starfield background there. There's some nice... Oh man, look at that animation there. There's some nice parallax scrolling if you ever manage to go fast enough to see that. Other things that I've not mentioned, the sound effects. Very good kind of classic arcade sound effects here. Hisses and bleeps and bloops. That's very good. Like I say, even though this isn't, you know, faithful to the arcade version, it feels like sort of spiritually faithful. I could imagine playing this in an arcade. I could imagine doing really badly at it. Do you know what? I actually did a lot better that time. Maybe I was just really bad, had a lot of bad luck in my first attempt at Deadline mode. But yeah, Deadline mode is a lot of fun. If you die in this game as much as I do, you probably get a little bit more out of Deadline mode. Because you kind of get a little bit more of a meaty kind of game experience. However, if you want to get good at the game, you should probably just practice arcade mode. Another seamless video edit. Yes, my microphone and sound card love dropping out the sound. You may have noticed. I had to re-record the outro again. Picofender is a really good update, reimagining of the Defender formula. You've got the classic arcade style graphics, all the strobing effects, the kind of weird, pixelated, abstract little enemies that are incredibly deadly. Yes, this is a very tough video game. There's a lot of abilities that your ship has though that can mitigate that. You have to remember to use them. Hint, you have to use the shield. But yeah, there's a high skill ceiling for this game, and I think it'd be very rewarding to play. I like the two modes that are in the game. Arcade mode is fun, classic arcade mode, and Deadline mode is much more forgiving, gives you a kind of longer experience with the game, which is good if you suck at it like I do. So check out Picofender, only on Pico 8. You can follow the developer Proton Person over on Twitter, link down below. Check out the website sunbearinteractive.com and check out the other projects and games that they have put onto itch. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you again very soon.